I'm sure you've all been inspired. Fantastic presentation there from Stephan. So let's think about branding. Think about generating that feeling. If each of the tables, and if there's a sparse number on the tables, maybe you could join up and collaborate with others. Take the next 10 minutes and chat amongst yourselves and see how your table can identify perhaps some of the challenges that you have as an organization, as an event organizer with branding. But come up with 3 actions, 3 takeaways, 3 things that you have been inspired after listening to Stephan's presentation. So at just before 12, I'm going to actually ask all the different tables for a few suggestions of what you've been inspired to do. So take the next 10 minutes and have a good chat.
My advice would be just try not to try and do everything at once all the time. Think about it differently, layer it. And the way I would tend to layer it is into 3. There's some of your stuff you do on social media which is just pure brand building. I often liken it to, let's say you were to go or begin to think about buying a new bathroom. Right? First thing you start to do is just to think very broadly about, okay, should we do it, should we not do it? You start to then notice things about, bathrooms you maybe be in at hotels like this. You maybe start to pick up more stuff in social media. You start to look a little bit. But you're very much in this sort of aspirational, space. As soon as you again commit to go, well, definitely going to do it, then you're into another layer down, which is inspiration. You're looking for inspiration. Who am I going to go to get inspiration about what we could do within our particular bathroom? And then it's only at the very end of that, you're in this information. Well, how much is it? How long is it going to take to order? What's the price? And so forth, right? So I see just a lot of examples in social media where everyone's just trying to do like an amalgam of all sorts of things all at the same time. Just look for things which are there to build that spirit of what you're talking about in the long term and be happy they're only doing that one job with that few seconds of attention span. Then there'll be other things which are more inspirational, which are about, here's something we're doing next month, you should book, here's an activity you can take on, which is added value, and then make sure then they follow through into somewhere where they can get the information. It's very much as Carmel and George were saying about that timing and that layering. Just think about it in bits, not all at once.
But again, is that to do with consistency and developing that feeling, that connection that you're trying to make?
Totally, yeah, that's what, if you want the big takeout I would like to take away is by thinking it through in terms of what you stand for, what your spirit of your brand's about, then all those things become much easier to hold together. Because when you go soft and just brand build, it can be still connected to whenever you have to get into inspiring mode, and then it should all interconnect. You shouldn't really see the seams. But if you don't do that, you can just end up doing, oh, that's cool, or we'll do this, or we'll do that, or someone's came to us with this idea, but you don't know what's right and what's wrong. So you have to take more ownership of that to go, no, I know what's right for us and what's not. I know when it's too far and when it's not. And that just requires, that's why I come back, all about words, getting that lined up, understand who you are, work that through, and it'll keep you on that longer track in a much better way.
Anyone else who's had difficulty with branding, who's been inspired by what Stephan has said and has decided to take an action in some shape or form, or a discussion at your table? Okay, I'm going to point it out because you're reluctant to put the hand up. The next table, we'll go to this one and then that one. So those two tables, and then that'll be us for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. That was an amazing presentation. I suppose now in this day and age with social media, everyone is saying a lot of the same thing. If you've had a brand that's established and is genuine, is authentic, really stands by its values, how do you sit in a world where everyone is sharing the same values, everyone is sharing the same authenticity, but doesn't necessarily bring that through to their brand? How do you set yourself apart, in this saturated world of online media?
Well, first of all, absolutely, and the noise has never been worse, and that is just the fact. But then I would just liken it back to that dinner party example, or that human example. So there's no point being something you're not, because that will not work in the long term. So you still have to think about who you are, what you stand for, what your viewing is. But I think the way to separate it out is by owning a character, owning an attitude. Like my example with Specsavers or Avis. That if you're in a very crowded space, I would literally map a chart which you put all the people who are in your space on, and find what you label those axes to try and pull and push it around. And at some point you will find, whether it's quality versus price or whether it's experience versus something else, you will find that they tend to cluster them up and they'll leave a space where you can maybe own. And then if that's again based on a truth that you really are happy to live out, own that attitude. Be the ones who are known for doing it this way. That means you're not trying to do something that's different necessarily just for the sake of doing it, or make you have to do weird stuff that it's just not what you want your business to be about. But that attitude can separate you in a way which people will like and remember. The bit
Go for it.
The bit I didn't really get time to say is, and it was in Carmel's presentation, data. All the information exists, and the joy of AI is it's making it so much easier to connect the data and the dots up. Make that all inform this story. It's like a Venn diagram of who you are, what you want to be about, and all that information exists about what your customers are potentially looking for, that you can occupy in that middle. But think of it like as an attitude, not just the list of stuff you do.
Okay, table 11 there, behind you.
Get myself into this so you can actually see you. No, that was a fantastic presentation you gave to start off with, but it really promoted a bit of discussion here, and they kind of used me as a test case at this table. So I've now got my own branding team.
Excellent.
What I've suddenly realised, and chatting to the people here as well, that my direction of looking at my brand has been in the wrong way. I've been looking at it as Wild Walk Bushcraft, where really it should have been me. I should be looking at it as my own brand because of what I do and what I talk about and things like that. And I think that's something that's definitely highlighted that I need to look in a slightly different direction. And then also about how I get my brand out there, i.e. get me out there. So there was discussions from YouTube, how I can put things out that way, looking at influencers as well. But I think for me, really, I need to put myself out a bit further and stop thinking that sitting behind the curtains and just peeking out occasionally and just putting Wild Walk out there and actually put myself out. It'll be a wee bit uncomfortable, but it definitely brought a great discussion at this table.
Very good. I think you've got a good set of advisors around you. That's good. No, exactly. Look, now it all depends on you. But if what I heard in the answer or the question earlier today is true, that that's what you love, that's what you're about, that's the experience people get. Well, don't run away from that. That is it. So rather than you trying to then become something you're not, and then feel stressed about all the things you aren't doing to make yourself into this perception of this bigger company and doing social media in all places you don't want to go, don't do that. Just reverse it. Make it about access to you, because that's actually what I think a lot of visitors who would be doing. They don't want to get a different version of you. If you're selling that and you can deliver it, they want that. So by understanding your customer again, by understanding what it is you want to be about, that's the right space. And don't shy away from that. And from there, you'll have all the answers, I think.
And as I said, Stephen is going to stay for a wee while longer today. But for now, put your hands together, please, and thank Stephan Moore.